Mercury Cougar 1967–1970. The Mercury Cougar was released by Lincoln Mercury on September 30, 1966. Far exceeding initial sales projections, the Cougar would account for nearly 40% of the 1967 sales of the entire Lincoln Mercury division. In contrast to the Mustang, the Cougar was initially released solely as a two-door hardtop. Priced $284 more than the equivalent Ford Mustang, the base price of the Cougar was $2,854, $22,765 in $2020. A fully optioned Cougar XR7 was $4,500, $35,894 in $2020, essentially matching the base price of the Ford Thunderbird. The Cougar received the 1967 Motor Trend Car of the Year award, becoming the first, and only, Mercury brand vehicle to do so. Internally designated T7, the first-generation Cougar shared its chassis with the 1967 revision of the Ford Mustang. The Cougar has a longer wheelbase than the Mustang, extended 3 inches to 111 inches. Both vehicles derive their underpinnings from the rear-wheel drive Ford Falcon unibody compact chassis architecture. At its launch, the first-generation Cougar shared its engine lineup with the Mustang, although offering V8 engines exclusively. A 289 cubic inches, 4.7 liters, V8 was offered with either a 2-barrel, 200 horsepower, or a 4-barrel carburetor, 225 horsepower, a 390 cubic inches, 6.4 liters, Marauder V8 was offered as an option, producing 320 horsepower, GT. During 1968, the 289 was temporarily substituted with the 302 cubic inches, 4.9 liters, V8 designed for the new federal emissions standards. This engine produced 210 horsepower, 2-barrel, and 230 horsepower, 4-barrel, the former became standard on the XR7. At mid-year, a lower compression 289 was again available. A 2-barrel Marauder 390P was introduced for non-GT Cougars, producing 280 horsepower. The newly introduced GTE was introduced with a 427 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 390 horsepower. As a mid-year option, a 428 Cobra Jet Ram Air was introduced, officially rated at 335 horsepower. For the 1969 model revision, the engine line underwent further changes. The 289 was dropped entirely, a 2-barrel 351 cubic inch V8 became the standard engine for the Cougar, producing 250 horsepower, 2-barrel, and 290 horsepower, 4-barrel. The 390 was offered solely as a 320 horsepower 4-barrel. The 428 Cobra Jet was the largest Cougar engine, rated at 335 horsepower, with or without ram air. As a mid-year change, Mercury introduced the Boss 302 V8 to the Cougar, exclusive to the Eliminator. A 4-barrel street version produced 290 horsepower, while a 2x4-barrel racing version was officially rated at the same 290 horsepower output. On an official basis, the Cougar was never produced with the Boss 429 engine. 2 Cougars were produced as factory drag cars for Fast Eddie Shartman and Dino Don Nicholson. For 1970, the 2-barrel 351 remained the base engine, with the 4-barrel engine replaced by a 351 cubic inch Cleveland V8, producing 300 horsepower. While unchanged in displacement, the new engine was an all-new design. The 390 was dropped, with the 428 Cobra Jet remaining alongside the Boss 302 as the high-performance engines. Initially developed as a rebadged version of the Mustang, the 1967 Cougar received its own body design from the ground up, though the popular long hood, short deck proportions of the Mustang remained. The model line was marketed as having European style and features. The first Lincoln Mercury vehicle with hidden headlamps, the front fascia was distinguished by a split electric shaver grille, featuring vertically slatted chrome trim. The rear fascia was styled similar, concealing dark lens taillamps behind vertically slatted trim. Sequential turn signals were standard, adopting the mechanism from the Thunderbird. The $185 upgrade to the XR7 brought further European influence, in addition to a simulated, wood-trim dashboard, full instrumentation, black face gauges, toggle switches, and an overhead console. If so equipped, the automatic transmission was fitted with a T-handle console shifter. The Cougar was offered with nearly every Mercury option with the sole exception of automatic climate control and power windows. A tilt-away steering wheel was offered, a power-operated steering column that swung up and out of the way when the driver's door was opened, the transmission in park, and the ignition was off. For 1968, the Cougar saw revisions related to compliance with federal safety mandates, adding side marker lights and front outboard shoulder belts, sash belt, shoulder harness. In a first for Ford Motor Company, the 1968 Cougar offered an electrically operated sunroof as a factory-installed option. While available on any Cougar, the sunroof was a rare option. For the 1969 model year, the Cougar underwent a mid-cycle revision alongside its Mustang counterpart. The straight-line body sides transitioned toward Coke bottle styling, distinguished by a sweeping body crease sloping down from the hood line to the rear wheels. While the roof line saw little change to its design, the vent windows were deleted. The front fascia retained a full-width grille, with the electric shaver split grille replaced by a horizontally slatted grille, with a matching centerpiece. Concave taillamp lenses replaced the previous convex design. The hidden headlamps were retained. The mechanism shifted its power from a vacuum canister to a vacuum provided by the engine. As a failsafe, the neutral position of the headlamp doors was open. A convertible body style was added to the model line, available for both standard and XR7 trims. A power-operated top was standard. For 1970, the Cougar underwent an additional revision to the front fascia. The split electric shaver grille made its return, adopting a pronounced body color center section. As part of the front fascia revision, the Cougar received a new front bumper and revised front fenders. In contrast to the Eliminator, the Cougar received a special option package, styled by fashion designer Pauline Trigger, including a houndstooth patterned vinyl roof and matching upholstery. The roof and upholstery were available together or separately. Further safety revisions included the addition of locking steering columns and high-backed bucket seats, replacing adjustable head restraints. The first generation Cougar was offered in two trims, an unnamed standard trim, and the Cougar XR7, introduced in early 1967. Available for both the standard Cougar and Cougar XR7, the GT option package was developed as a sportier version of the Cougar. Standardizing a 390 cubic inch Marauder GT V8, 320 horsepower, the Cougar GT was fitted with upgraded suspension, larger brakes, wheels, and tires, and a lower restriction exhaust system. For 1968, the GT-E was introduced above the Cougar GT. Offering a racing-derived 390 horsepower 427 V8, paired solely with a 3-speed automatic, the GT-E received its own badging, quad exhaust, and a redesigned grille. Power front disc brakes were standard. As a running change, the 427 engine was joined by a 428 Cobra jet as an option. The latter was officially rated at 335 horsepower. A total of 394 GTS were manufactured, of which 357 were equipped with the 427 and 37 were built with the 428 CJ. Largely a counterpart of the Ford Mustang Mach 1, the Cougar Eliminator replaced the Cougar GT as the performance trim Cougar. A $200 combination of two option packages, the Eliminator received a performance-tuned suspension, upgraded wheels and tires, a front air dam, and a rear spoiler. To distinguish the Eliminator from other Cougars, Mercury added blacked-out exterior trim, a Cougar rear badge, replacing the Mercury crest emblem, racing-style side mirrors, and model-specific body stripes. 4 exterior colors were available: white, bright blue metallic, competition orange, and bright yellow. Offered solely as a hardtop, the Eliminator was offered with all available Cougar engines, with the 351 Cleveland as the standard engine. As a running change during 1969, the Boss 302 engine, shared with the namesake Mustang, was added as an option. The engine was offered exclusively with the Eliminator. For 1967, to commemorate the success of the model line in competition, Mercury offered the Dan Gurney special version of the XR7, technically, the XR7S. In addition to a signature decal, the option package included turbine-style wheel covers and an engine dress-up kit. To signify his association with Lincoln Mercury, the XR7G, G equals Gurney, was introduced as an option for 1968. Largely a performance-oriented appearance package, the XR7G included a hood scoop, fog lamps, hood pins, and tailpipes from the GT. The option package was offered with any Cougar engine. Each XR7G was built to order, with the total number produced unknown. A 1969 only package was the Cougar Sports Special that included unique pinstriping, turbine-style wheel covers, and rocker panel moldings with simulated side scoops. The Sports Special could be combined with the Decor interior package and performance suspension, along with any available engine.